backbone is fucking insane.
Do we lose him?
No, I'm here.
Oh,
Hello and welcome to Game of Nodes, a now once again weekly podcast. I nearly
said this week anyway.
I nearly said on the Interchain.
At least-
that
at least-
would have been a deep cut.
You
That's
can,
an old,
that's
that's a
fine. Yeah,
throwback. Interchain. The Interchain, a weekly podcast on the Democratic People's Republic of Korea ecosystem known as the Cosmos ecosystem. Okay, so what percentage of the cosmos do we reckon is currently sibbled by Kim Jong-un? Ballpark number.
33%?
33%, yeah, 33.2%. So it's not a problem. It's not a cyber attack. It's totally
It's
fine.
inconvenient right now.
Mate, or what was the name of that validator that was like the whole of DYDX?
Ex Machina?
Ex Machina, yeah.
Yeah.
Ex Machina. Korean sleeper agent confirmed.
Yeah, we should talk about that story.
Just think, your shit coins could be proper. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's like well, you know, obviously we're building these robust systems, they're robust to censorship, they're robust to all these different, robust to state actors, and then it's like, okay, so North Koreans are using this to launder money, and you're like, okay, maybe some robustness to maybe some censorship is fine. They have a nuclear program they're funding with this shit. Like, we have friends in Korea, like South Korea. Although to be fair, I was reading a thing a little while ago that said the if you're South Korean, the thing to be concerned about is short range conventional artillery, not nuclear weapons necessarily.
Oh, really?
Apparently there's just so much dug into like hillsides on the North Korean side of the border, and Seoul is quite close to the border in the grander scheme of things. So apparently like that's like weapons of mass destruction are like a nice headline, but like if you can just lob 500,000 shells in an hour before anybody has any way of digging out those bunkers with airstrikes, then it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, shell moves pretty quickly.
You know, I'm just wondering, like, at what point did they think that anyone, like, what was the catalyst for them to actually think that anyone would want to invade their fucking country? It's like nothing going on there.
I mean, I think the only reason to invade is to just remove. It's like a stability question, isn't it? Right. Well, there's two plays. One is stability from the point of view of South Korean manufacturing and like economic power, and the other one is having a land border with China, with a friendly country. Because I mean, a massive oversimplification, but that kind of buffer zone thing was part of the geopolitical jostling in the Korean War in the 50s, right?
But that was also 70 years ago.
It was a while ago. I will give you that one. Yeah.
Like it to me, it's like, okay, it'd be like me laying siege to my shitty next door neighbor to steal his fucking 1970s lawnmower.
Yeah. Well, there's an argument, isn't there, about if reunification happened, it would just completely destroy South Korea anyway. So it's actually
you couldn't. But you know, the only way that country's ever going to do anything is if they just have a regime change.
Yeah, like
there's no reason why that country can't be prosperous. They just need to stop the fucking what they're doing, because it clearly is not working.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's entirely fair, right? Like, part of the reason why nothing they're doing is working is because there's so many sanctions against them.
Sanctions, yeah, but they're never going to lose those sanctions if they're just a dictatorship that builds nuclear shit. I mean, it's if they weren't. Yeah, I don't know. They don't really have an economy of anything there though. Like
No.
their entire economy is to like
Be a kind
just
of failed pirate state. Yeah.
yeah, it'd be like sell some dirt to China so that the Kim Jong Un can have a new fucking
Yeah.
like Rolls Royce.
Yeah, it's all for their leader. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, by the standards of crypto, what is it like? 2% of all crypto transactions are North Korean hackers, basically. That's kind of crazy.
Devastating if true. What are we doing here, lads?
Thank you for your service.
Have you on the North Korean thing? I can quickly recommend a good graphic novel. It's by Guy Delisle and it's called Pyongyang, and it's about his time as a journalist there. And it's very, very weird because it covers like I think he was working as an animator in some kind of like some foreign companies are allowed to go there and do specific things for a short period of time. Some journalists are allowed there. There's some aid agencies and things like that, and just like international observers. There's like a tiny little expat community, and everybody has to go around with like a North Korean chaperone, who like basically always stands over their shoulder and tells them what to think. And it's super weird. And this guy's just like a French guy, and he's just like, and it's just like a really, really well observed, like it is quite frank and quite funny and a bit sad. And it's just about his time in North Korea and like some of the things he did there, like going to the museum of all the cool shit North Korea's done, and it's just like a big hall of random crap. And he's like, okay, cool. Just like all of it is this is very bizarre. But apart from that, I don't, to be honest, know tons about North Korea. It's just like a really great graphic novel. So
I'm ordering it now.
let's get that plug in there. It's really, really good.
I mean, this we'll put a link in the show notes, but this article we're talking about it's an article on CoinDesk talking about how North Korea is infiltrating the crypto industry, and part of those two stories, one is really Zaki is heavily discussed in here, right? With his hiring of 2 DPRK
Sleeper agents.
1099s, super agents. I don't know if they're super agents. It might be just dudes trying to get work, but that go back a few different dates. They have like fake documents. There's a picture of like a Texas ID or it looks
That's the definition of a sleeper agent, isn't
Japanese passport. Yeah, like shit like that. Which is, but I mean, I guess it's easier in this industry just because of the payment structure, right? But like, this has to be happening in thousands of Fortune 2000. Like half the Fortune 2000 probably has some sort of fake user associated to that might be doing development work or something similar to that, right?
So
like it's really difficult to.
Is the other real story here as well that the author of the article in question is Sam Kessler, who everybody hated for reporting on Prop 16 back in the day. Once again, putting the boot into Cosmos.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I looked at the byline and I was like, it's our old friend Sam, who I never really particularly had a problem with, but lots of people hated him back in the day.
Was he wrong?
Well, no, he was like, some people on the internet are trying to take money that isn't theirs.
He was just reporting it, right?
He was just stating what appeared to be the facts of the situation.
He was just exposing all the dirty laundry that nobody wanted to have aired out.
Yeah. I mean, he really had to dig. It was real investigative journalism to look at the public transactions on a blockchain and go, wait a minute, there's a governance prop to take away funds on a blockchain. Real multi-year investigation, that one.
How much was it again? It was like 200 million or something, wasn't it?
120 million at the time.
120 million. Yeah. Today's value, 99 cents.
99 cents, like OTC, over the counter.
We should have just waited a couple of years. We could have paid it. They could have had it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the time to delete those funds is now, because they're just like, thank God for the tax write-down. Thank you. You've done amazing work.
Yep. That's pretty cool. I mean, not pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. I do like espionage shit like this, and it's curious And was there a recent? I'll have to see if I can dig it up. But I thought there was a Dex or something also recently that was that somebody realized that it was a DPRK
Isn't it
person
something
who
in?
wrote something.
Isn't it in that article? Like it's like one of
Oh, was it?
the. Some decks got exploited, and it turned out it's because the. I'm pretty sure it's in that article.
Oh, was it? Maybe I missed it.
One of the devs was like a North Korean agent or something.
Yeah.
The Rama comment on this. Obviously, our news researcher is like hot on top of this. Was on top of this before it was a story. Rama
Months
is
ago.
the story.
Months ago.
Rama is inside the story. Rama
Months ago.
is the story, right? And
Rama
and
uncovered this while he was taking a shit at least 3 months ago.
yeah. So Rama alleges that the specific code in question that was written by the North Korean sleeper agents was the liquid staking module. The thing is, though, that's just too good. It's too good if the liquid staking module was like a North Korean plant, because that's too funny. So I'm not sure about that. Citation needed, but it'd be funny if true, hilarious if true. In fact.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He's giving a shit about going right to his news. I mean, honestly, this is the first time we've actually talked about news in the first 5 minutes, but
it's been a hot while, hasn't it?
It has. And band's back together. It feels like we haven't been together in like a month and a half.
Well, I mean, it's because
Might have
we've
been
been
longer.
Yeah,
Has it
it's
been
a
longer
while.
than that? All these babies and shit. Will you guys knock it off? Just take a pause on
All
that
I can
shit a
hear
little
right
bit.
now is just fucking crying.
Your noise cancelling is pretty good there.
Noise canceling is pretty good.
Oh, he's not
It's-
this far away from the microphone. so-
This is why broadcast mics are the way to go. That kind of
That's right.
That bubble of area effect. It really does like take the edge off the stuff around it. So yeah.
You have aged in the last month, though. I can see it in your eyes.
yeah. Actually, I
Yeah.
didn't get much sleep last night. You're lucky I came today.
We're always
It wasn't because of him either. It's just when I closed my eyes, I didn't go to sleep.
You're
I just
nervous
looked at the
about
back of my eyelids for 6
Game
hours.
Notes.
Yeah. talking to Schultzy instead at fucking midnight.
Meanwhile, it's 2 a.m. for me. Yeah, you're like, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing up? He's like, oh, this is my life now.
It's like I'm up all the time.
I'm like, same.
I don't sleep anymore. So, and how are babies sleeping at all for you two?
He sleeps really well on me.
Oh,
Otherwise, it's not happening. Yeah.
still. Oh boy, you guys are.
Yeah.
They do love a
Yeah.
good chest sleep, that's for sure.
Yeah, they do.
They
Yeah.
do, for sure. Well, I still feel frustrated because he was sleeping really well in the bassinet for like 3 weeks. And it was a glorious 3 weeks where Cass and I were like catching up on sleep. And then one night he was just like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore.
It's like, oh yeah, I forgot I hated this.
Yeah.
they do weird stuff.
They do weird.
Yeah.
They regress. They regress.
18 months, right, of loving the bath. Favorite time of day. Bath is amazing.
Yeah.
We don't go in the bath anymore. If you go in the bath, there's
Fucking
something
miserable.
there's something terrifying about the bath. I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe
Ooh.
I think he's got big enough now where he can climb the steps in the kitchen up to the sink and he can see the water going down the plug hole.
Mhm.
And he can see that there's a plug hole in the bath. So our working theory is he understands the plug hole in the bath that's by his feet is where the water goes. And he's like, whoa. How do I know? How
Oh,
do I know how stuff ends up going down this thing? He's
Like
undistractable. He's just like, what?
How do I know I won't end
like-
up down there?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like getting flipped on the Matrix, right? Like just like
Apparently it's
where is
gay.
this?
Yeah. Apparently
You
it's
show
like
him where the
not
pipes go?
uncommon. It's because it's all sealed in, isn't it? It's like quite a small bathroom.
Yeah, you go downstairs or something. Like they come here and it goes here and it goes there
We-
and it
we-
goes in
we-
the sewer. Don't show them the sewer though. Don't
yeah,
do that.
it's like Han Solo, isn't it? It's like, don't worry, kid, I know some maneuvers, and it's like
Exactly.
my maneuvers have not worked. Like we're currently on like 1 day in 3. We just do the waterboarding, and he screams the whole way through it while I'm like,
Yep.
and,
Our kids
and
always
that's
hated the
just-
fucking bath.
Do you
It's-
guys
it's
have like the
bad.
sink waste grinder things there?
Yeah.
Show him that. Show them that shit.
Oh yeah.
We do not have those.
Shut up.
We do
It's just
not
like
have those
stuff the
here.
end of the broom down there and let him watch it disappear.
Yeah, we don't have those in this country.
Man.
That shit is madness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You ever seen the
definitely-
film? You ever seen the film Rolling Thunder?
No.
It's supposed to be, I think, Quentin Tarantino's favorite movie. It's like this old, shitty kind of exploitation revenge flick from maybe like the early 70s. So it's like, you know, absolutely the kind of shit that Tarantino would be into. In the first few minutes of the film, the main character has a unpleasant interaction with a sink waste grinder that will make you not ever want to see one again.
Click.
Every time you see one, you'll be like, out the corner of your eye, you're like,
Oh yeah.
I've seen Rolling Thunder, motherfucker. Don't you come near me. Like that's it's absolutely fantastic film. It's got a really young Tommy Lee Jones in it as well, who's great. And
77. Oh, and William Devane.
yeah, it's an amazing film, right? In all of the best terrible ways. And it's one of those films that, like Escape from New York or something, right? Where it's a film, the action happens, and then it's like, bam, roll credits. We are done. Like, it's not a shadow of doubt. Like, you just like, here's the action's finished. We're done. Roll credits, 90 minutes or whatever. Like, not wasting your time like these jerk off modern films are like 3 hours long, where an hour of that you could just easily cut. You're like, look, Escape from New York is like what, 87 minutes or something. It's like
it gets down to it, right?
you've got to have a really, really good reason for going above that, right? You better have something pretty revelatory in your film.
All right, that's on the watch list.
It's good.
If
I
we're doing
recommend it.
recommendations right now, if this is the recommendation part of the podcast,
Sure.
I just finished watching Chaos on Netflix. And if you like Jeff Goldblum, like that's a big asterisk. If you like him, it's a great show. Really enjoy it. It's like Greek mythology in very fun modern ways. And
I
very
have
good.
watched the first like episode or two of that. Yeah, it was. It didn't captivate me right off the bat, but I've got to give it more of a go.
Well, hence the asterisk. If you like Jeff Goldblum, like I'll watch it just because
I do. I'm a big fan of fucking Jurassic Park.
Okay, it's on the maybe list over here. It's on the maybe list.
He's
You seen Samurai Cop?
by the way, big Yinzer,
No.
Jeff Goldblum.
Is he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
he is a Yinzer. Yep, I met him in the Pittsburgh airport actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Were you like Big Yinzer? And he's like Big Yinzer.
He's like, I
He's fucking enormous, eh?
was like, life finds a way.
Is he like a giant? Is he
No, I
fucking
don't
huge
even-
in person?
No,
don't
he's
think
normal
so.
sized.
I imagine
He
he's
fucking
quite
looks huge.
short.
He
for
looks
somebody.
huge in like Jurassic Park when he's sitting in the helicopter. I'm like, that guy's a fucking giant.
I think he's got a
everybody else
small
is short.
torso and big legs.
Yeah, I think everybody else is short in that way.
I think he's like quite an average size. You know, he plays
I
jazz
went
piano.
to-
Anyway, whatever.
Oh, so while we're on the recommends, Bad Monkey is good. So if you haven't watched it, Bad Monkey,
That sounds familiar, but I don't know what.
it's a new
is it a
TV
movie?
show. It's got the funny guy in it. I don't know. It's pretty
It's
good.
got the funny guy.
Vince
The
Vaughn.
funny guy. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, like Samurai Cop. If you've not yet watched that, please.
Is that on Netflix? It sounds horrible.
Samurai Cop. It's like I don't know. It's made like in maybe in the 90s or early 2000s. It's like a low budget.
91.
Yeah, it's
Got
like
a
a super.
4.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
it's
I don't know
amazing.
if that's worth my time.
No,
It's not in
no,
the good
no.
territory. It's
No,
either
no,
got
no.
to
This
be
is the
threes.
good. This is the good kind of 4.5. This is. Have you
There
seen
isn't a
Miami?
good time 4.5. It's got to be in the threes or in the sevens.
No. I gotta say, sorry. Just shut your bitch mouth. You don't know what you're talking
Everything
about.
between there is
Like,
fucking
Can
on
I
the
just
do not
can I
watch
just
list.
fucking stop you? This is like Miami Connection level of primo nonsense. Like this is like police
Like, right,
chase.
go on
Call up the helicopter. Like, where are you? We're just landing. Don't land. Like the dialogue, none of it makes any sense. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. It's like his name's like Mr. Yamamachi, so he's like a ninja. It's like it's like they didn't even try.
It sounds like a
It's
good
so
film
good.
you can watch as you're going to sleep because there's no way you're going to be invested in it.
It's like, have you ever seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place? Right. It's like a classic, iconic, like weird horror, low budget British comedy from like the early 2000s, and it like
Is that exactly what it's called, or do you just add in the director's name before the title of movies?
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. No, that's the name of it. It's called
right.
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Okay.
Because each one starts with it's basically like a documentary about the iconic horror show, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, or just Dark Place for short. But it's done like a Channel 4 documentary about the show that used to happen, and each one is introduced by Garth Marenghi. And it's like, you know, the Crystal Maze or any of those things from the 90s where he sat there in a chair with like a skull and he's got his horror book and he's just like, welcome to the mind of Garth Marenghi. In the 1990s, I was briefly able to produce a television show so horrifying that it rattles the bones of its viewers today. And like, it's just so weird. And then they show you part of it. You know, they'll show you bits of it and they'll interview people from it. And the TV show just has this super shit, super earnest quality to it. And Samurai Cop is that in a cop movie. It's Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, but that. And the other thing about Dark Place is there's loads of actors who went on to do lots of other stuff, like Richard AADAO, I think it was one of his first things was Dark Place, because they were all young comics together, right? So they wrote he wrote Dark Place for his friends. And what's his name? Who's Toast of London?
Matt Berry. I love
Matt Berry. So Matt Berry's in it.
Matt
He
Berry's
plays
in it?
one of the main guys. Yeah. So it's Richard Ayoade and Matt Berry are the two main people, apart from Matthew Holmes, who wrote it. And Matthew Holmes wrote it. It's obviously a comedy. And everybody was like, oh, Matthew Holmes is going to be this new comedy force. And he was like, oh, no, I just wanted to do a satire horror thing. I'm going to go and just like have a normal career now. See you guys later. Peace out. And he just disappeared. And then like 15 years later, he did an actual horror film, like as a project. And people were like, oh, Matthew Holmes is back. It's probably some great satire. And they went to see it. And it was just a slasher, like a horror film. And then they were like, what the fuck? And he's like, I was always just into horror. It's just that all my friends were comedians and they were very funny people. And so I wrote a thing because they inspired me. It wasn't like, he's like a really strange guy.
I don't know.
yeah.
I'm sold.
Samurai Cop, but also Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is very entertaining. I think the first line from the entire thing is something like blood, 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 and piss and shit.
The highlighter review on IMDb for Samurai Cop is the title is entertaining garbage.
Yes, yes, it is. And if you like Samurai Cop, Miami Connection is
We've talked about Miami Connection.
Yeah,
that's a good movie.
Right. If you like Miami Connection, like Samurai Cop is more of Miami Connection. It doesn't have motorcycle riding cocaine ninjas, sadly, but it's in the same kind of vibe. It doesn't have that bit where that guy gets the letter and he's like, oh my God, you guys, it's a letter from my father. And then he just starts crying. Oh, God.
What the hell are we talking about?
An actually good film. Have you seen Furiosa? Mad Max? The
No, it just released, right?
Started watching it.
It's good. It's good. It's really well shot. Like, I mean, George Miller just he makes good films, doesn't he? And the practical stunts, dude. You're just like, how the fuck did they do some of this? Oh,
is it still futuristic Australia?
Yeah. It's like set 2 years in the future, something like that.
Current Central
Australia. 2 years ago. It's a history flick.
Yeah. It's really good. That was a 2-hour film where I didn't feel bored. But then there was a lot of stuff blowing up, so that's probably why it kept my attention.
That helps.
Yeah, you're just like, oh wow, that car drove into that car, and that car's now flipping over. Awesome. It was good. So yeah, Korea.
I wonder if Koreans like Samurai Cop.
It's all they have there. Just Samurai Cop.
It's like a whole Samurai Cop on repeat channel.
Yeah, just a shrine to Samurai Cop.
DPRK jokes. That's like a low ball for us.
Samurai Cops There's Samurai Cop 2, Samurai Cop Enter the Samurai.
Oh God,
Samurai Cop into the Samurai.
I cannot recommend anything other than Samurai Cop. Let's be clear about that. And even then, you know, the caveats
but
all apply.
Do they appeal to different audiences, kind of like the Toxic Avenger? Is it like people like the Toxic Avenger and people really like Toxic Avenger 2, but they're like that those Venn diagrams are not actually overlapping that much. It's weird.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it
I
is.
mean, maybe it's people that like heard. It's like, you know, The Room, the film The Room that Tommy Wiseau did. It's
Mhm.
like people that watch any of his other films because you suspect they don't. Hey,
What
wait, what?
No, we just lost Null. Fell
He was
off.
like, how dare you say that Tommy Wiseau is not a creative genius that I know him to be.
I mean, Australia joking, he left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We didn't say anything mean about Australia. Oh,
we did.
well,
We did.
well,
We did.
I don't think
No.
there was much mean about Australia in there, really.
I'm sure it was a baby situation.
Probably was a baby situation.
I do like the way that
that's baby life.
I do like the way that we started and bragging about the solidity of the internet, and then video pauses.
Yeah, we had a hot minute there.
That always makes me laugh.
Lovely stuff. So, what else is new? What's happening?
I know it's been a couple weeks.
What
How's
is
the country a little
occurring?
bit? Yeah, things are good.
Did you
It's
go
been
to
busy.
that? You were in Central America, right? Did you
I
go to that?
was. Yeah.
Did you go near that place where there's that bar on the coast that's in an old CIA plane?
No, I don't know where is that? Do you know where that is?
I think it's near Manuel Antonio in Costa Rica. There's
Oh, really?
it at least, I mean, this is like, okay, so I would have been there 16 or 17 years ago when I was backpacking. And it was one of the planes that the CIA used to smuggle stuff around for the Contras, I think.
Really?
In Nicaragua. Yeah, and the plane just got, I guess, eventually like abandoned or whatever. I don't really know how the CIA covered their tracks. You'd have to ask the CIA. But somebody ended up with this plane, so they stuck it on a hillside and turned it into a bar.
That
And
sounds pretty, that sounds
I
like
got
somewhere
drunk.
in Costa
I got drunk there once. It was kind
Oh,
of
you
cool.
did? You been there?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
had some beers in the cockpit of this old like fucked up.
Yeah, now I gotta look it up.
I guess it was like must have been something like a B-25 Mitchell, but maybe converted into like a cargo plane, something like that.
And then convert into a bar.
And then converted into a bar. Yeah,
That sounds
sure.
like a fun thing to hang out at.
Yeah, you know the score, right?
Yeah.
That's why when you were like, "Oh, I'm going to Central America," I was like, "Go to the CIA plane," and you were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair,
go ahead. What?
well, you know, when you go on a night out, right, and you've already had a couple of beers, and somebody's like, "Let's go to the CIA plane," and then you grab a local taxi and you go to the CIA plane. You're like, "This is a great time," and then you tell people about it afterwards, and they're like, "Is this one of your fever dreams?" This really happened. Okay, it's a real place.
Yeah, I was down there for, I don't know, just like 4 or 5 nights. I had a buddy of mine, extended buddy of mine, bought a place there. There's a lot of, it's starting to develop, right? CR. And so there's a lot more money flowing in, which is good and bad. And not this example that I'm talking about here, but there's a lot of development going on there. And, you know, there's some resorts moving in there, but not too many actually where we were. And so I knew it was rainy season, but it was just like hey, let's go hang out for a few days. So we went down there. The only thing that, with rainy season, it was pretty overcast, but like with like, you know, some days of sunshine here and there. But we did have a good time. So like the bars are fun there. It wasn't crazy. Like it wasn't like spring break or anything like that. And then rainy season is fun just because we did like some ATVing and things like that where we had to float like ATVs down the river. And shit like that because it was so much fucking water, and so we were blasting through the jungle and through these massive teak wood forests, which are just gorgeous, and like there's sloths in the trees, and you can see I think they're a different kind of monkey. Here we would call them like a howler monkey. They're all up the huge howler monkey families and things like that, and we're just crossing. We must have crossed rivers like 50 or 60 times over a course of 4 hours. So we went up through there, which was great, and big long tour of that, and then you end up at the beach and you go to a bar. So everything ends up at the bar. That's no doubt. But so anyway, it's not like it wasn't like a vacation where you have sunshine and things like that, but it was fun just to hang out, and we just drank and got wet is really what it turned into. But like I could just stay here and just hose myself down and drink myself silly, but
Nice.
it was more humid down there.
Sounds
yeah,
great.
it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, only I'm like, honestly, pager duty left me alone for the most part. Fucking stupid upgrades here and there. That was it. It was pretty quiet, actually. It was one of those things like things still I don't know. Every once in a while you get lucky, right? Like nothing breaks for stupid shit. The other thing we've had one server. Well, two funny stories. One, we had one server that keeps powering off for some reason. Like it says it's thermal tripping, but it's not. It's like some BIOS issue, but it's only on one machine. Of course, it's an important one, and every once in a while the thing just fucking flips off, and all these alarms go off because there's like important shit on it. Nothing irreplaceable, but there's a couple testnet things, a couple other things that are on there, and so it's just really painful because you have to basically turn it on manually. So that's been a real pain in the ass. And then I think Null and I were
What
talking.
you're saying is you're migrating that box to AWS now.
It's going to right to Contabo. Things don't fail at Contabo, man. Let me tell you. Yeah, just a bare metal bullshit thing. Yeah, and we got kicked off of a provider this week. Super exciting. They told us to fuck off.
provider.
Which one?
Yeah, they told us to fuck off.
Which one?
Amazing. Yeah, I don't want to name them, but so the story with this, it's not a big deal. Like we only have 3 machines there. We were trying them out. They're in Germany. And I even met their CEO on a call and all this type of stuff. Like we just want to I usually get to know where we're hosting things, right? Like if I can, like if it's I'm not calling OVH, but or other types of things or AWS, but although we know whatever. So we met them, just trying to talk about what we're doing and what their processes are and the support team. And it's a smaller provider. They have some nice bare metal, like they're slow, but like they're pretty, like they seem pretty decent. So we've had machines there for maybe 8 or 9 months, and one of them just went down, like it just fell off, like it just disappeared, and I couldn't get into it and whatever else. It was Saturday morning, and so Saturday morning here, so I'm pinging them like, hey, this thing's down, and so if you put an emergency ticket in, and so it just disappeared, like it wasn't me, like I haven't logged in that box in a fucking month, so it wasn't me, like it just disappeared. So I sent a text and I was like, or a ticket, I'm like, hey, can you just their portal, the reboot thing wasn't working, it would just throw an error. The IPMI password was wrong. Like it was all fucked up. Like it was like I couldn't do anything. So I sent him a transaction or a ticket like, hey, you just reboot this thing. I just want to see if it comes back. Because maybe sometimes Linux does Linux things. And he's like, yeah, it's our hours are. He emailed me right away. It was like 2 minutes later, just to say that our ticket hours are 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. If you want me to do it now, it's 60 euros. I'm like, it took you long. I'm like, I don't need you to do anything. I just want you to fix the thing that's supposed to work that says reboot. That's what I want you to do. I want you to fix that. Like, that's not a ticket thing. Like, go fix your fucking shit. And he's like, yeah, it's 60 euros. I was like, and so what would you guys do? What would you do?
It depends what's on it. If it was something critical, I'd be like,
It's
fine, I'll just eat the 60.
No, it's not.
Then-
It wasn't. It was a redundant RPC note. But what would you do in that case if somebody told you that?
I don't know what I would do. It depends on how fired up I was, what I had going on that weekend, to be honest with you.
Well,
But generally, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, the volume's been turned down on a lot of stuff, I would say, in the last 18 months. I think if I'd had a good night of sleep, I'd probably just be so stoked about having a good night of sleep that I'd be like, hey, man, it's your hardware. I'm not asking for a lot. Like, there's absolutely no way that we're going to pay for any kind of support contract if you're not prepared to go and reboot a box right now. Like, it doesn't feel like a huge ask, depending on where this is and whatnot. But man, you do you. Otherwise, we'll just move it to OVH or wherever, man. Like
you're knocking at the door. You guys are both more professional than I was. I, of course, canceled it instantly. Like it was September 30th. Our bill date was October 1st. Boom. Next email. Boom. Cancel. He emailed me back like it was It was, I will cancel this, and I marked your account that you can never order anything here again. That was literally what he sent me. Like 5 minutes later after I canceled the fucking thing. So I have 2 more machines there. One of those is a little bit critical. Like I do want to do something with it because it has some IPFS stuff on it. So now I'm shopping again because I like provider diversity and want to keep shit off heads in there in OVH. So I'm looking again to see who else. But literally fucking so I didn't even respond. I was like, dude, come on. Like, you're gonna charge me 60 euros. I'm like, instead of charging me 60 euros, you can now lose 150 euros a month forever.
Yeah.
Like, did you learn anything out of this fucking process of you
To
emailing
be
me?
fair, we had a similar issue with HostKey.
Yeah.
Where we had 2 things, one of which was the awful two-factor authentication thing where they
Right.
reset it. And I was like, this is completely unacceptable from a cybersecurity perspective. And they were like, okay. And I was like, sorry, wasn't really looking for you to say, okay. I was looking for you to come up with like some sort of a strategy or like some kind of indication that you take this seriously, or we're done here. Like, if your 2FA doesn't work, we're done. There's no,
we dumped them too.
yeah. And so they were just kind of like, blah, 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 blah. And then we had that, they were the ones where we lost a, was it 7950X? We had like just completely freak out, like as in the cooling wasn't good enough. And we literally just set it on fire during a stress net. And it was like a similar thing where just the hardware temperature sensor was either reading a temperature that was wrong, or it was literally physically on fire.
That's what we have to. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so either your data center is on fire, in which case, you probably need to deal with that, or this box needs rebooting. And I think we did file a ticket, and they were kind of like, what are you doing with the server? And I'm like, well, that's not important. I don't know. I feel like there was something. I don't think they resolved it. I think they did go and reboot it the day after or something, but it was kind of fucked, and they didn't fix the 2FA thing, so we ended up canceling.
The
2FA thing was really the bigger thing, though.
Yeah,
rather than
it was a disaster, is what it was. Yeah.
I
don't know. I think some of these, I know the margins are somewhat thin in those businesses because what you see, I mean, they have to deal with you have to deal with both knowledgeable users who think they know more than you, and some that do more than like, for a lot of our providers, we know like what's going on more than they do, just because we get alerts on a ton of shit that we monitor, right? And they don't react to all those. Like, if a machine goes down or something else, or if there's a network outage, for the most part, we're telling them before they tell us, at least for the smaller providers, not so much the larger ones. And I think the amount of support they have to deal with and those types of things, and the margins are thin and whatever, but like stuff like that, like the idea, like I all I want to do is fix his own shit. You know what I mean? Like, I just want you to reboot it and see what's going on with it and see what the hell's going on. But it was funny that like, I've never been booted off I mean, at least he didn't shut the rest of my shit down. That would have been awful. Actually, that would have been real. It wouldn't have been the end of the world, but it would have been a fucking pain in the ass. You know what I mean? Like, to lose that.
Yeah, it's always annoying when you have to migrate a bunch of shit that you didn't think you had to migrate. But
yeah,
and
nothing's irreplaceable, but still, it's a fucking hassle, right? That's something you just don't want to deal with that. But it was funny, like, you can never order here again. I was like, I wasn't thinking about it anyway.
I mean, that probably wasn't going to, but
wasn't thinking
cool.
about that, but cool.
Thank you for letting me know.
Don't turn the rest of my shit off quite yet.
Yeah, I've got other shit to do first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that was fun.
Does sound fun. Are we gonna touch any of this AADAO stuff? Like, it's all been pretty mad, huh?
Yeah, we talked about it. Like, it's been a couple weeks, right?
It's been like rolling for a little while. I saw I don't know if it was you, Schultz, or Ertemann, but I saw a Lavender post about this the other day and was like, yo, my boys are getting involved.
Oh yeah. Heise was like a Beyblade covered in shit, flinging it everywhere. It was glorious. He went on forums, he was on Twitter, he went on like Twitter Spaces to talk shit. Oh, it's glorious. I'm so proud of him.
I just saw what presumably was then like the tip of the iceberg, which was him just like it was like calling out Youssef on Twitter, and then like it was, I think it literally had a list of demands. It was like a ransom note. It was like, we demand this and this, and I was like, it's like, okay, you can have whatever you want. When the Dutch get angry, man, you just got to be like, okay.
Boy, there's a
Yeah.
Patricia who's a CFO just announced she's leaving, or I guess controller, whatever her role is. Boy, it's like,
Is that while we're on air?
no,
I was gonna say that's straight.
It's a post from 22 hours ago.
All right, I missed that.
Patricia?
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but
What are we talking about?
Not the Mercury.
the
Oh,
civility and-
AADAO?
yeah, the
Ah,
civility
yeah.
and
AADAO.
it
Indeed.
seems a bit, yeah. So what can somebody like
The in AA is the sound of the plane hitting the mountain.
can somebody give me what's the short of this? Other than
I mean,
go
the
ahead.
TLDR is really just, it's a big circle jerk where everyone's getting paid too much, and then they're like self-congratulating because they're getting paid too much. That's really the TLDR.
Cool.
Yeah, it just seems like they're all upset about not being able to pillage that fucking DAO enough.
That's one group's viewpoint, right? Is that what you're saying?
That's the takeaway I get from this whole shit is like, we're unable to pillage as much money as we want. We're upset now.
Well, Youssef gets paid like 19,000 USD a month or something, and he's
Fucking hope he gets food stamps as well.
yeah, right.
I mean, not bad. Got to respect a player of the game. That's fucking great. I had no idea they had that much money to spend. That's fucking bananas. And like, what's the price of Atom these days? I'm guessing about $3, something.
No,
It's
it's
quite a
like
few atoms
$4.
you'd have to dump. Yeah.
443 right now.
Oh, we're on the way back up. We must have hit bottom. Or
Well, we were on the way back up over the weekend. The last
we
2
were,
or
and
3
now
days
we're
have
back
been-
on the roller coaster, heading back. Oh, it's like well, it's like whenever there's like unlocks coming up, right? Is when the roller coaster decides to smash into the mountain. In my experience,
You can thank me for that pump, by the way, dumping my bags at ATL. I
Did you?
told you, sir.
Dude, you were the
Told
best,
you.
man. We have to work on a communication because you're supposed to tell me exactly 24 hours after you do that because that's
I
usually
told you
8 p.m.
days before. I said, I've dumped my bags, watched the pump to 50 cents,
Sure enough, 51 and a half on site.
51.5 cents.
It's down to
Yeah.
41. Down
Literally within days
20%.
after months
was
and
told-
months of holding.
I was actually, I had no excuse. It was even at home too. What the fuck? I just didn't feel like doing it. I was like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, mine was the exact same excuse. I was like, I'll do it when the week starts. It'll be fine.
I'll hold
And
out
then
for
I logged in and
70
was like,
cents.
oh god.
I gotta find my key and all that shit. Fuck all that. I don't want to do all
I'm
that.
holding out for $1.
yeah. I mean,
That's,
you know what?
That's 2023 usurper, by the way.
Yeah.
2024 usurper is way different.
It's
Although-
all of the original bull market vibes, isn't it? It's the lead. I mean, in this corner, it's ledgers in a bank vault. Over there, it's like holding out for $1. It's all
Holding out for $1.
all the stuff you tell yourself in a complete. Oh man, do you remember when we were holding out for $1 on Stargaze? Now that is an OG reference right there.
Dude, I remember when it wouldn't sell Aptos at like $15. I was like, this is way too low.
That's $15. That would be nice now, wouldn't it?
Juno at 20. I think I had 15. I was like, fuck this. 15. That's ridiculous. Fucking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I had some Juno in a personal wallet. I think about 500 or 1,000 of them, and was like, I'm not going to sell this at £20, whatever that is, $25, something like that.
20 grand, baby.
It was like, yeah, right, exactly. And you're just like, that's like, okay, so granted, my horizons are small, my imagination is small. I am a pleb, right? I get that, but I'm just like, Oh yeah, like that's quite a lot of. Actually, do you know what's fucking sad about me, right? I don't even know what I would do with that 20 grand. Like, I'm gutted that I didn't sell it. It was fucking stupid of me. But I just thought, like, yeah, I could have. And then I was like, I've got a Mesa Boogie. It's there. I bought that when I was 20.
Yeah.
When did I buy that? Jake's in the chat. When did I visit you, Jake, and buy that amp? I bought it.
The Simple Life.
We went to
Oh.
some weird basement in San Francisco and bought it on Craigslist for $380.
Based on
What-
Juno
Oh.
cachings.
No, like
Or
this
no?
was like 10 years ago. It
Oh,
was like
okay.
10 years
I've-
ago, something like that.
I've got a Craigslist story for you. So I used to go to
I love a Craigslist story.
I used to go to state sale auctions with the whole like blah, 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 blah guy, everything, right?
Yeah.
So I find this big box of stereo equipment, and there's really just a sub there that I wanted. Everything else fine, whatever. But I would sell everything that I didn't want out because it was just a big lot. Well, so one of the things they had in there that I learned afterward was a CD player that's like this big, quite large, one solid hunk of aluminum, and it uses tubes. It was
So
a
that's
tube
not a
CD player.
CD.
One single CD. Put one single CD in there.
Oh yeah.
It was like $27,000 for this CD player.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And so you could go online and read reviews about it. And those were even better because people talked about how you can finally find. Now it's $27,000 in like 95. And I bought it in like 2020. Right.
Jesus.
So
Yeah.
Take
So
that
it
for
was
what you will.
$8.
Yes. Well, so reviews online were like, it's so great that there's like reasonably priced tube amp things available for the plebs, and it's $27,000 new, all over the place. Well, so then I sold it on Craigslist to like this grandma who her son or like her grandson was starting to get into like violin music or something, and she was like, all I know is that CD players are good, and you have this one posted for like $1,500, so it's got to be the best one on Craigslist. I was like,
True.
yeah, I guess that's
True.
valid. I guess.
You got it.
That
I mean,
tracks.
it is correct.
That's
You
correct.
got it.
Yeah.
You got it, Grandma. Now where's
But that's
now,
just it. Like,
now cash only.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so obviously I'm a pleb, right? Right. Schultzy, you're not a pleb. Like let's say you were me in that situation, and you did what any sane person would have done, except that we're obviously all insane people, right? And you sold the 1,000 Juno, making $24,000, whatever it was. Like this is. Let's imagine you don't have to pay tax on it because that makes maths go funny here. But let's imagine you made $24,000 profit in Schultz's pocket, and you're thinking it's time to blow this cash. Like, what does a normal person, what does a normal wholesome individual spend $24,000 on?
I mean, you're really asking the wrong person, because the thing I would do is probably immediately put in an index fund. So you're really asking the wrong person.
I've got all the abs I need. I'll probably put it in my savings. I'm exactly the same. I was like, Schultzy will have an exciting idea. Like,
Are we going around the room?
yeah, Noel's just like, I buy a fucking truck. I buy
Wow,
a ute. I put a ute on my ute.
I would buy a box of NVMEs.
That's reasonable. Yeah. Okay.
I just said something cool. Like NVMe.
Man, you
that's a
don't know
work- that's a
cool
work
unless
expense.
you do not know cool and excitement until you have a box of NVMe show up at the front door.
Dude,
Yeah, but that would be a business expense, right? Those are NVMEs you want to use for your business. You don't as a private individual need a box.
These
of
things are so
NVMEs.
beautiful, you could put them on your mantelpiece.
I have one question. When you open that box and you rip open that magnetic bag, do you smell them?
The bags are already open. Do I smell them? I don't.
You smell that new
I do-
electronics? That
I do
Shenzhen
spinners though.
electronic
I
smell?
love the smell of a good Exos
Technology?
20 terabyte spinner. They've got a smell about them.
They do.
I mean, NVMEs don't have a smell unless you do bad things to them, and then they've got the magic smoke. But
They smell. It's all electronic smell. No?
no, I mean, I took a big whiff.
Yeah, like, I gotta check it. Check it. NVMEs. Is that what you're buying? Oh, look at that. Jeez, look at that.
Oh, that's sad, isn't it?
Real time
So,
sniff.
so those of you listening on podcast players or listening back later, not checking the
They do have
stream out on
stuff.
YouTube, Null has just got out a actual box in order to. This is like show and tell at school, isn't it? We're all
Well,
like in the remedial class, aren't we?
This box is no longer full.
Look at how it looks.
Is there anything more on brand for this show than a half full box of drives that was once full? I'm guessing those are also. I'm guessing that, like that advert you always see by the motorway where it says like nearly new tires. I'm guessing those are also nearly new hard drives, right?
These are brand new from China this week.
Brand new. What the fuck are you doing with 20 hard drives now?
So much archive.
27.6. Sorry, this was only half full box, so I had 10 7.68 terabyte
10
Gen 5
terabyte.
NVMEs. First of all, I mortgaged my house. Second of all, I stuffed them into a server.
As I say, at what point does running archive nodes move from being a business model and into a kink? Because I think we're there.
This is not for archives. This is for a Proxmox cluster with Ceph storage. So it's a experiment in distributed storage.
Who's paying for that? Well, and
I
you're
am.
paying for that.
King
Well,
nodes.
well, sure, no,
limited.
but who's paying you for it?
Well, we rent quite a lot of shit. So the idea is that I no longer rent that shit and I run it on my cluster.
Ah, fair.
But also, it's pretty and I like it.
So we've got like we've got part
I mean,
kind of David Heinemeier Hansen level of I must own my own shit because it's a radical business strategy, and also part I like shiny metal hardware toys.
Also, like certain projects are coming up where you need to have like plain text keys and stuff that don't have remote signers. It seems more secure to have your own stuff in your own area. So anyway,
that Australia strategy works though. I got to tell you,
Australian infra baby.
it works. It works. Teams are like,
Yeah.
where?
Yeah,
I think I've heard of that country.
I think, yeah, you guys have
Isn't that
electricity
an
and shit. Like you can run
that
blocks
island in
down
the
there?
Pacific.
There's
Yeah.
blocks down there. You can make blocks.
You can make
There's
blocks
cannibals
in
out there, aren't
Australia.
there?
You can make
The
blocks.
blocks are upside down though. Like they don't
Shit
append
works,
to
man.
the end of the chain. They append to the start of the chain. It's like
That
What?
whole Proxmox 2 of 3 and Ceph thing, that's like 75% want to, 25% need to.
Yeah, I
Right?
think it's
80-20,
well, actually,
90.
it's
Think there's
more
that much
about
need?
Yeah, it's probably
Hey?
90-10, right? Like you could run 3 separate boxes and be fine. But that idea of having distributors, I mean, we run vCenter, so the ability to move VMs across hardware real time
That's it.
without shutting them down, like
Yeah.
we move like, well, we don't really run it. We do run signers there, but not too much else. But to be able to move those across hardware without like thinking about it, that's really nice at 10 gigabit. So at 100
So
megabit,
this will be a 4-node Proxmox cluster of some pretty
doesn't it
beefy
have to be odd?
boxy boys. Hey,
Doesn't it have to be odd because you have to have a 2 of 3 or a 3 of 5?
No, I don't think so. You
No.
can set up just storage that can use as kind of like a
Well, in terms
almost
of
like
the
a
cluster,
cache.
to have a HA cluster, you have to have 3+.
But how do you have 4? Because if they split 2-2, who how do they know what the master is?
You have to have 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because
I
you have
swear it was 3. I thought it was 2 or 3 or 3 or 5. I didn't think you could have like an even number in there. Kind of similar to a wrap structure.
So you actually need to have a properly redundant HA cluster. You actually need 4. So when one drops, you still have 3
I
for
don't think
the tiebreaker.
No.
But anyway, I'll give you more information about it after I receive these fucking servers and put them into commission.
I hope my doubt makes you buy another server. Like, fuck, I gotta buy another fucking server. I need 5 now.
Look, let's be real.
That's all I want to do is make you spend
I'm gonna
more money.
buy more.
That's all I want to do is make you spend money. That's really it.
Actually, did I tell you about the story about the vendor who I buy my drives from? My guy,
my drive guy.
My drive guy.
They just stand on the corner being like, "We got that WMD, we got that WMD," and you're like, "Yeah, give me the good shit." They're like, they just get in the bag of NVMEs and hand them out.
12 terabytes. 12 terabytes.
He's forever my guy. He did me a good deal on some 15 terabyte
PCI 5.
drives,
PCI 5. PCI 5.
Man, PCIe 5 is fucking fast.
I got that fast shit for you, Noel.
That shit is fast. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So anyway,
Funky says
was buying some servers recently.
He's got a wire reference. Yellow tops. Goddamn yellow tops.
I'm glad that somebody got my wire reference. Thank you, Funky.
Yeah.
All right. No one wants to hear my story. It's fine. I'll fucking go back.
Okay, we get it. You're buying drugs or whatever.
If you're drive guy, if you have to go outside and the guy's sitting on like a couch in the middle of a courtyard.
So the drive guy is also a vendor for a couple of different brands of servers. So like Supermicro and some other shit. Anyway, he was trying to sell me some other shit, which I'd never heard of. I told you about this, and because I'd never heard of him, I was like, I think I'll just buy from the other vendor I usually get servers from because I know that brand that I get from there, and I haven't had any troubles with it. And then so they're like, well, we really want. I'm like, I don't know what the long-term longevity is like. I don't know if I'm gonna have issues with how it's set up, etc. And so I said, I'm gonna buy from the other guy. And they're like, all right. I said, but I'm gonna send you one anyway. Put it in your rack. Yeah.
Fucking, that's drug dealing, man. That's what that is.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's trying to get me on the crack.
Your first taste is free.
Exactly. Yeah. It's fucking drug dealing.
Yeah. So I don't know how long the loaner is for, but he is sending me one.
Well, once it's in production, it's forever.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to rip that out.
I don't think I can, in good conscience, put it in production in case he wants it.
I'm sure you can. Did we meet? We met some dudes when we were in Austin too, right? Wasn't there some drive guys there?
There's the Kioxia guys.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no.
It was Micron.
No.
It was Micron.
It was Micron, not Kioxia.
Did you ever talk to them?
Yeah, man. We had fucking.
Oh yeah, they send you free shit too.
No, they didn't. We were talking though. It's like fucking.
Got them yellow tops.
I like those guys. They're really knowledgeable and
Micron's a good storage. Yeah, they make good shit. I just don't think. I'm guessing it's expensive, and I also think it's probably. It's all made here, I think. If I remember.
Well, there's only like 3 manufacturers that actually make flash, and they make their own flash, so they can be more competitive in a market where there's a shortage. They can be more competitive because they can just cut off the third-party manufacturers, which means that the third-party manufacturers have to jack up their prices because they can't make any more drives. But the OEMs just are like, we got all the flash, man.
Yeah.
But then when there's tons, they just like saturate the market with it. Yeah. But that was actually most of the conversation I had with them over there in Aston. Yeah. But in any case, this will be like the first experience with Ceph, and I've read up a fair bit, and I think it's going to be good, man. I want to see that instantaneous VM hopping.
I wouldn't. I would take it slow. All production on there instantly.
Yeah, well, it'll be a testing for a while.
Yeah,
but
we had it for a while. Like it worked well. I don't remember any issues with it. It's just like some of that stuff is a little bit fidgety. And like, well, this was a few years ago. It was a while ago, actually. So it was still progressing really quickly where you had to kind of stay on latest versions and things like that. I'm sure it's stabled out by now, but so I would just, I do remember like we'd had peers fall out of the cluster and things like that for stupid ass reasons, like stuff like that. But
Probably because you didn't have 4.
probably because I had 4. That's probably why. This is probably split 2.
We're going to have also like a NVMe NAS, all NVMe NAS,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually it's going to be shared storage for the bigger things. So that'll be interesting. Got a 100 gig backbone, which I finally have working properly now, and man, that transfers shit fast, like real fast. It is impressive. Yeah. So that'll be interesting, man. You'll hear all about it as I'm swearing and kicking things late nights.
Yeah.
Trying to make it all work properly.
This is a good like it's a good area within blockchain because it's a tough problem to solve. It's not a trivial problem, honestly, and it's incredibly important. Number 2 and number 3, people I think discount the complexity of it and like the idea of storing this for a long period of time. And I
The
think
funny thing is, people discount it until they need it.
Yeah, for sure, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Which has also happened recently, where the efforts weren't really recognized anymore until one day someone needed it. And
Oh
like,
shit! I need a block
fuck.
from blah 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 blah, and nobody has it because everybody's state syncing or taking Polkachu's 1 hour backups type of shit, right? And like nobody fucking has any history whatsoever.
Yeah, or reliable history. Yeah,
yeah.
It's
Or
like a
any
very,
history.
it's a very specific hardware problem as well. I mean, like, kind of if you're gonna go after like the archive use case, it is like good fucking luck doing that in any other way other than owning your own hardware at the end of the day.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to.
Well,
There's no way.
there are still other people that are running rented hardware with some of these big archives,
Really?
but yeah, but the funny thing is that they just run out of capacity, and then they're like,
I know of one team running an archive on AWS, but I mean they have literally millions of dollars. Like that's the only I can only think of one.
Yeah, I think I do think that people underestimate the complexity that it comes to this, and also like I mean, when it comes to like even backups or snapshots or those types of things, like I mean, people fuck up their nodes all the fucking time, right? And with this, if you're not smart, you fuck up that node, it's done. Like you, like that
Well, it's
history,
just
like you
nodes.
lose
Nodes
it, it's
fucking
gone.
fail. Like hardware
for
fails.
sure.
Like we had it's kind of like hard to you get very used to, I guess, like when you do normal software engineering, like normal software engineering for clients or deploying websites or deploying applications or whatever, like you get very used to a particular life cycle, right? Where you actually do move stuff quite often, like without really realizing it. And it's only when you do stuff like with blockchain where like really you don't want to move stuff unless you absolutely have to. But you are in production for a long period of time where you begin to see like, or at least like from my perspective, right? I've seen a lot more weird hardware issues in this space than on any other projects, right? And like even on just like test nets and things, we had some long running test nets where boxes would just like go into a crash loop or something. And it was just because they've been running the same workload for like 12 months or whatever, it was a VM or whatever it might be. And they were just not recoverable. And yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know. It's a validated life, isn't it, I suppose.
Yeah.
but you can even just like, I don't know, if you're doing maintenance and you just restart the box or something and don't shut down your node properly, you can corrupt the database.
Easily.
Repair outage, anything like that. Just corrupt the database. Or fucking everyone YOLO into an upgrade like they did on that one chain.
Yeah, I'm running some nodes for a testnet right now that are OOMing at 128 gigs. Fucking OOMs, process gets killed, database corrupted, gone. Right?
Yeah.
So like it happens pretty easily. And so the ability to say like, hey, I want to do it now, or I want to do it if you know, you're going to run it for years and years and be a trusted resource for that. Like, it's a big responsibility. I don't know if you're up to it, honestly, but
Actually, I corrupted my say one just 2 days ago
yeah,
when I was trying to improve because I talked to you guys last week. We moved that server to a different location, and now it has a new IP. So you had to nuke the node ID and the because otherwise, if you change IPs and don't change node IDs, you have a lot of problems with P2P. So we dropped the node ID because they're in everyone's address books as a different IP.
yeah, but it just takes it probably takes 10, 12, 24 hours. It'll sort itself out, right?
Well, so
You'll just make outbound connections. It'll stay there, and people eventually.
Yeah, get somebody to update their peer. No.
Well, we just changed the node ID, and
Okay. Anyway.
but then when we go out and do peering again, like we weren't getting good peers, and you'd catch up, and then when you went back to consensus mode, like it just wasn't able to keep up with the network. It was like half the network speed, stuff like that. So troubleshooting that, trying to try different settings and a few different things and routing and stuff to make it work better. And then I just rebooted the server without thinking, and then corrupted that database as I was just smashing through a bunch of different steps.
Because it shut down the process too fast or something? It just killed it?
Yeah, because I changed some operating system settings and then just did restart now.
Yeah.
Without like a proper shutdown. Yeah.
I'm glad that we're running 20 say nodes over here. You didn't even ask for me to add you to persistent. I really appreciate that trust over there.
I didn't want to have to rely on persistent peers.
You have to,
so I don't have any persistent peers.
Just for a little bit. I could have given you an address book too.
Yeah.
Jeez, you're a pain in the ass.
It's all right, man. We survived.
It's tough being your friend.
You don't have address books on say.
True. You're right.
So anyway, but then I just rolled back to like an hour before and it was all good. So
with what? With CFS?
ZFS, yeah. It took 10 seconds to roll it back and then another fucking 2 hours to catch back up.
Would SAID rollback work too? Like, would you let the binary rollback? Did you try it or no? Is it fucking?
No, because it actually, if you don't close off the database with the stuff out of RAM, sometimes it can you're done. It doesn't matter if you roll back. The database is fucked.
I'm dealing with that now with this testnet where it's OOMing, which is ridiculous. And then so it kills it, and I get a panic. But actually, the rollback is working for somehow. I don't even know how, but it does. It's weird.
Okay.
Fair. That's cool. So everything's in your new location.
Everything's firing well.
Work. You had your 36-hour fucking cross country trek to go pick up all your babies and bring them back home.
40 hours, 3,800 kilometers in 40 hours.
And you took a friend too, right?
Yeah, I picked him up like 6 hours from my house. I picked up my friend so we could share the driving for the next 20.
I can't believe you bullied Rama into it, man.
What? What the fuck did you buy that guy? Did you?
It's just
nothing.
Just called
him a cunt and dropped him off.
Yeah, I just kicked him out and kept going. Actually, he fed me. His wife fed me on the way through.
Even better. Better. Amazing.
Yeah. And then I came home straight to the data center, racked everything, configured stuff, and then went home. And then couldn't sleep, actually. The baby was crying, so I stayed up with the baby for a few hours. And then it was daytime, and I can't sleep during the day. So then it was another full day until I actually went to sleep.
So funny.
Yeah.
That's good. So everything's local. Got a good data center. Everything's looking good.
Yeah, man. Tier 4 data center. It is very nice in there. Good power, good internet.
Nicer than your old data center?
It was a shitty tier 3.
Oh, shitty tier
3.
How do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself?
I know. Felt so dirty walking in there. They've got like they've got these mats when you walk into the data halls. They got the mats on the ground that are sticky and pick up the dust on your feet.
Pick up your shit.
Yeah. So you know you're in like the place.
So you know you're in Noel's happy place.
Yeah.
You can get them for the house and just be like.
If it were up to me, the whole floor would be sticky.
Is that for people who don't wear shoes? You just walk in there with bare feet and it sucks all the dirt off your Australian feet?
Yeah, suck all the germs, all the barnacles. I don't. No, it's a rule that you have to wear covered shoes. Actually, these guys are so anal about their like rules that they go and audit your racks, and if you don't have the blanks in between your servers, you get like an angry email.
Say that one more time. You can't do
If
what?
you don't have the blanks in between your servers, like if you've got empty rack
Oh,
units
because they
and they're
want
not
that.
blanked off to stop
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fucking heat coming back,
Yeah, because
you
they
get an
don't want
angry
to
email.
they want to maintain the cool side, hot side, right?
Yeah, because cold side's like 25 degrees.
Yeah.
And
So you're wasting electricity basically is what you're
yeah,
doing.
you just ruin the efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have blanks. So do they provide you blanks? Or you have to.
Yeah, man.
on
There's
your own?
fucking stacks of blanks
Do
everywhere
they?
you go.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Some places they don't do that.
They got two kinds. They got like clip-in ones, but then they've got these like core. What is it like core board? You know the stuff they make signs out of it.
Oh yeah, just aluminum.
Yeah, it's got like
Aluminium.
rip out sections. I hate that one. I just put these snap-in ones.
Crazy.
But yeah,
Rama says if you can't hear the hum of your money disappearing when you're in there, it's not high quality enough for data center.
man, you have to wear noise canceling headphones in there. You will fucking just bash your head until you die.
So many
if you don't.
fans.
Can you
Yeah.
can you get me some field recordings in there, or are they going to like shoot you dead on the spot for getting your
Some
phone?
SMR. You want some
That's
in
I want
DC
some. I want
SMR?
some good I want some tier 4.
I can
data
live stream
center
it if you
hum.
want, right from the exhaust of my server.
I want you to take your fancy
Alone in the
mic
heat.
setup there, and just pot it down the aisle. Record me like a few minutes of just like tier 4 data center white noise. That would be
like
fucking.
Like one of your French girls.
Mercedes.
It's going to be. Look. We all know that. Like, if your kink is data centers or hard drives or whatever it was, video games, whatever it was we were just talking about, I don't give a shit. Yeah, my kink is esoteric primo field recordings of random ass shit. And this sounds fucking great. I'm into it. Let's go. That's what I would like for Christmas, Santa.
I told a sales rep that I was driving to Melbourne and back from Brisbane, and he asked me to record it.
Really?
Nice.
He said he
that
just
would've been
really
epic.
likes watching fucking people
Dude,
driving.
I could easily do that. Just put a
Epic
fucking-
episode of the podcast. I'd be into it.
yeah, just big
Yeah, it's
square
like,
of
can you just-
yellow.
Can you stick a
Fucking-
GoPro on the windscreen and just like record that 40 hours for me? I was like, no, I can't do that.
It's just just yellow. It's all yellow. So
Just
much
a
yellow.
yellow haze.
Just for 48 hours.
That's the back way. When I went via like the country to pick this dude up, and yeah, at least it's windy in the back way. If you go the coast road, it's literally just
Straight shot.
straight the entire way.
How fast?
It's like
How fast are you going?
Like if you take the coast
Fast
road,
as
you
a
can do,
cheetah.
like,
How
110.
fast you gonna go? Fast as a bullet.
About 60 mile an hour in the countryway.
No, it has to be more than that. Really?
100 k's. Yeah.
That's it? Jesus Christ!
There's
14
about
hours.
a third of it. A third of it is 110, which I don't know. What 66.
Dude, 14 hours at 60 miles an hour. That put a fucking bullet in my head. Are you kidding me? That's
20 hours.
ridiculous. Oh my god, dude, that's fucking torture. You might as well get out and walk. What the fuck? 60
Yeah,
miles an
man.
hour.
That's
At
what
least
it
here
takes
in the
to
middle of
fucking-
nowhere, we can do 85. Right? At least you're doing. At least
That's
you're
like
doing. What is that?
130.
200?
Is it?
No, more than that.
140.
Is that no?
200.
What is that?
Good at
I don't
math.
even know what the hell it is.
I think 135 is
140. 140. 140.
140. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
decent.
what you're doing 140. Like you're hauling. Actually, some parts of West Texas is. Well, some of those are 85 or 90 if I remember. But you can get up there, which means you're doing 10 over that or 15 over that, which means you're probably doing 150, 160.
In the Northern Territory, you can probably. I think you can do 140 up there. But
Is
not
it
down here.
populated though, or is
I've
it really
seen,
like?
I've seen it in
Is
that
it
documentary Mad Max.
I think like the reason. I think part of the reason they don't have like really high speed limits here is because running into kangaroos is pretty prolific.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between hitting a kangaroo at 100 and hitting a kangaroo at 140.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
One you'd walk away from, and the other one you like.
the other one's
Don't.
like just a really, really bad pinata.
Yeah, my
That-
mate
that-
hit a actually the same dude I picked up on the way down there. He has previously had an accident. He hit a cow
Yeah. Oh, really?
with like it was like a
Oh, that thing
little
will fuck you up.
His car was the car was fucked.
So is the coast road faster? Because I'm guessing that doesn't have these issues, right? That's probably more.
What's that?
The coast road probably doesn't have.
Oh
animals
yeah, no,
crossing,
it's
right?
all
Like,
blocked
that's
off
all.
to
Yeah.
animals and shit.
So
You
is
could
that-
easily do 160 or 170 on that road. Like it's
Oh, okay. All right.
it's primo, but you're not allowed to. The
Oh,
speed
okay.
limit there is 110, which means you can get away with like 115.
Which is what? That's like 70, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
That's. I mean, 70 is at least a little bit better. At least you're moving.
Yeah, you like the cars are geared also for fuel consumption at 100. So when you like
Oh, really?
wind them up, yeah, they use a lot more fuel. I've noticed.
I think that's
well,
the same
drag
across
as
the
well.
board, isn't it? Right? Because here the national speed limit, like if you just have there's like it works weirdly here. There's like a generic sign that just says, in the absence of any other instructions, this road is national speed limit. National speed limit is 60, and it's like the default. And I think it's the same reason. I think it's like fuel consumption because motorways are 70, right? Motorways are higher speed limit, but like the default, you're in the countryside. It's not like a super windy road. It's not like crazy dangerous. There's nothing that's gonna just like come out.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not gonna be like you come around a corner and there's a fucking hairpin and you're just gonna cruise off it, into off a cliff or something. Like it will probably
There
be
is here 100%. You'll come across a random hairpin.
okay, yeah. Actually, you know what? To be fair, there are some places in England that are rural, so fucking rural that you can have a road that's a 60, and there will just be a dead ass, straight up right angle turn with no warning. Like near where I grew up, there was actually, now I think about it, like a specific place where there was you went over a little bridge by a church, and then there was just a right full right angle corner, like a 90-degree turn. And if you didn't know, and that road was a 60, and there was like one slightly reflective thing stuck on like this Middle Ages wall at the other end of the bridge. And if you didn't know about it, you just go fucking straight into that at 60. But then I guess it was also a humpback bridge. So if you'd gone over the humpback bridge at 60, you'd have other problems anyway, because presumably you'd actually go into the air a little bit.
A humpback bridge, like a pretty.
Like a little like Billy Goat's Gruff type motherfucker, where it's like,
Jesus Christ! Well,
yeah,
you just
like an old school
fucking
bridge.
climb the ladder on one side of it or something.
Yeah, like a really
man.
humpy, like the kind of bridge that if you go over it on like a mountain bike, you do go into the air a little bit, and then yeah, those bridges are 10 a fucking penny in this country, in the countryside, man. Like over canals and things, there's like a bunch near me where you go over them and you go like properly up, and then like properly down the other side, because like like
Are they
200-300
pedestrian bridges or are they?
road bridges, like. Because like think about like 200-300 years ago, if you had a canal that was like a freight canal, it's like what 15-20 feet wide, 30 feet wide, and like a tiny ass rural bridge over a canal, like they wouldn't have had steel spans back then, so they just had to build more rock in a bigger hump. So they just have to build up and then along, like that's just it, just bigger chunks of rock, right?
And what do they just not have approaches or anything? They're just fucking straight up.
You just go. I mean, it's only like
Yeah.
20 feet or something. Like these are not massive, but like, if you hoon it over that in a car with your mates, you're gonna fuck your suspension.
And do a little launch into the stratosphere
Yeah, 100%.
up there with Elon.
So
Yeah. 40 hours at 60 miles an hour.
I went to a networking event last week and met a very particularly toxic guy who I think I said this on the group chat. Yeah. And you know when you meet somebody that's so fucking strange, you're just like, I don't know. To be fair, these things happen. I've noticed at fintech events, you seem to meet about one every single fintech event, and the red flag is if somebody is at any kind of a fintech event and they just say, "Oh, I am an investor," you're about to have a super toxic interaction. Don't know why. But there were mainly people there who like run their own companies of some kind or another, or are like working for startups or whatever. And this guy was just like standing on the edge of the groups, being like, "How much does your company make? How much does your company make? What's your
Really?
revenue?" Yeah, for real. And this is England, right? You don't fucking say random shit like that. And yeah, most people were so taken aback. They were just like, I don't know, about this much euro ballpark. And the guy was like, huh. And then I was talking to this Ukrainian guy, giving they were a software consultancy. I was giving him a piece of advice about I'd done some consultancy last year in a business that's like their target market, and I was just like, oh, here's like a product I know that they were tendering for, and they were doing a merger, and there's a lot of money potentially in like bringing that together in the situation that people are doing M&A. And this guy was like, what basis do you have to give that guy advice? You don't even run a real company. And I was like, yeah, I guess blockchain companies in some ways aren't real companies because we don't really own anything. We have very few staff. You know, we bring in people when we need them, and it does operate really differently from any other company I've worked on, and that seemed to piss him off more. So yeah, that was a funny thing that happened to me last week and inspired the name of this podcast.
First of all, anybody who asked you that hasn't done shit.
Well, also, I did point out,
That's
what I
normal.
really said to him, Usurper, was, if you had been listening to Game of Nodes, the Validated podcast, currently
Exactly.
on episode 127, airing every Wednesday at 2100 UTC, you would know that validators widely hold the belief that we work in a very silly industry, and I'm not sure that we do run real companies. But thank you for your input, my young man. He was not a young man.
I don't know about the definition of a real company is a weird thing to me, because I think anything that makes money.
I'm so here for, by the way, Usurper, I'm so here for your take on this as well, because I feel like you're the person who would be, if somebody did that to you in real life, I can't even, I think they would be coming out of that interaction in a body bag.
I think that's such a fucking weird. That's such a weird take on like trying to define what is valid and what is not. Like that. I don't know. Anything that is creating some sort of public good that actually makes money, meaning like it brings profits in that pays both employees and partners and vendors, that furthers the economy and can create positive cash flow, is a business. Like those are real businesses. So honestly, I mean, you could make the case that any organization that's just taking VC funding or after VC funding after VC funding that never produces a single dollar is far less of an organization than an organization that might be one or two people that has significant positive cash flow, or even any positive cash flow that creates revenue for themselves and for their vendors. Like that's such a
Do you know
fucking
what the
weird
If you're like a
do you know what
tradie
the
or
definition
something,
of a
build a
business
house.
is in Australia?
Say that one more time.
The definition of a business in Australia is it's defined as an entity with the intention of making profit.
The intention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they look at validators when they
Are
came up
are
with
they
that
all
one?
blockchain? The intention. At some point.
No,
Coming up on
we all
your
have a
15th straight loss.
we all have a very strong intention to make money off of these shit coins, but
I said-
sometimes,
and
it's not in your power.
I said profit a lot, but even it doesn't even have to be profitability. It's really not loss. Like there's plenty of nonprofits that have to spend everything on the balance sheet or everything on the P&L to be able to, that can't show profitability. That's still a business. Like it works. But that's such a goddamn. I wish I was in that situation. Where was that? Can I go next year?
I honestly, I thought it was so I found it so weird and found it so kind of funny at the time that I didn't. It was like, you know, when you have you ever been like stabbed, like usually by yourself, right, by accident. You know when you accidentally knife yourself, like
This
if
This
you're
isn't
doing
getting any better,
Figure,
dude.
you know
figuratively, or literally.
you know like you're doing some DIY in the house or something, right?
This might be a good time to ask if are you okay?
Okay, ha, ha, ha.
Do you
But
know?
like you probably put a nail into your thumb at some
Yeah.
point, right? Something
Okay.
like that. Sure,
Yes.
right. So
Sure.
you don't actually realize you've done it initially. You have that kind of like you go, huh? And you have like that numb feeling.
Right.
And then you realize a few seconds later, you're like, oh bollocks. And then the pain comes, right? I
Yeah.
feel like this was one of those, like, because it's like I kind of laughed it off and it's like that was weird. And then I was like, I left this event. I was walking down the street afterwards, and it was almost like I was just like, wait, what the fuck is a real company? Wait, what the fuck are we doing? And then I was like, we have talked about this on the podcast before. And it was like, that's what I mean about getting stabbed. It was almost like, at the time, you're like, weird. And then, like, later in the day, you're like, I wouldn't say having a full blown existential crisis because I actually just don't care enough about anything really to get that crisisy about anything.
Fine.
I'm just too deep in the don't give a shit to
Fine.
really be bothered. But I was just like, I was sat on the train thinking, yeah, but what is a real company, man? That guy's really rocked my world.
especially in this industry, I think like people celebrate like VC fundings, like round A. Okay, there's a seed round. Okay, and there's a
Yeah.
round A. Okay, and they celebrate round B, and they celebrate round C, and they celebrate round D, unless there's a significant amount of growth that's occurring, and you're using that in a way to be able to have huge amounts of taking over other industries or being able to do acquisitions, or you're doing something that has a huge aspect of market share. Usually those rounds are not a positive thing. Like that means like if you're 2 years into a business or 3 years into a business and you're unable to show that I can even make enough money to be able to cover costs, and I'm still continuing to raise, and I'm slamming this balance sheet, or I'm slamming the cap table down, and I'm increasing, and right now valuations are all over the place. So even those, the weird thing is like you can raise 200 million and they say, hey, we're worth 4 billion. No, you're not. But whatever, you raise it that amount, which means you're only taking a small amount of percentage in for that. Which is really on the VCs, honestly, and other types of organizations that are buying in at that valuation because they're worried about missing out. But that FOMO type of thing creates unrealistic types of valuations, and it creates these situations that honestly I think are just creating dead companies.
So
They're
you know
creating
what I
dead companies.
realized?
Like
So
you
the,
can never
the zombie
build out of it.
companies, the zombie companies thing is like a very real thing that is
Oh yeah, like
documented.
you're building a company that will never grow out of it. Meaning like you're just
They're kind of just dependent
pushing
on the
down.
injections.
You're just pushing down the inevitable, which is, hey, we're making whatever, we're making $100,000 or $200,000 a month, or we're making $1 million a month, or we're making $10 million a month, but you have a $4.4 billion valuation, which means that like your PE can't be 1,000. Like you have to have a
Yeah.
realistic number that's growing, and that you have to show that growth. Like there has to be real use here.
So
And it's just weird.
what I did realize from that situation was like when you're like really specific, and I don't know why, like this is really basic, sorry. And I realize everybody's already worked this out, but it for whatever reason didn't land in my head until this event, where I was just thinking like, because you go to a networking event in the City of London, like it's fintech stuff, right? It's kind of like speed dating for finding out what's happening in fintech, right? Because a lot of the people there are founders or incumbents, right?
Mhm.
And what I realized was that the VCs really do need you more than you need them in a really important way. If you're like a technical founder or you're that kind of personality type, right?
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
the number of good projects is fucking tiny. Like the number of projects
Oh,
with
yeah.
just like AI blah, and you're like, oh, who gives a fuck? And the number of like good, to be fair, actually, I met some very interesting people. Actually, apart from toxic guy who was weird, but you do meet some good people, and you're like, okay, so good founders rare, good project really fucking rare. Like the combination of the two, you're like, fuck, man. Like
Well, and the
the
issue is
supply is
there's
tiny. No wonder these guys are like FOMOing
exactly.
the shit out of the market. Because
Exactly, and there's so much fucking money available that the issue is that those VCs are fighting for a spot in that, right? And so the valuations go up because those buyer or like those companies have the ability, even shitty companies, but even the really good ones that are have an option to do whatever the fuck they want, right? And so then you're setting precedent in terms of that. Like it's just a self-fulfilling type of thing, right? But the real question is like, is any of that going to pay off? And so and you're right, the VCs do, like they have a absolute responsibility to their shareholders and to the individuals who have put money into those funds to have a return. They absolutely do. So when the Aptos thing happens or those types of like